Well, welcome to the world's girliest car. So this is a Fiat 500 2011 1.2 pop, the very base model of this car. This is going to be for a young lady who's just passed her driving test. This is going to be her first car, so it's very exciting. The girl's mum has a £1,000 budget to get this in decent condition up and running on the road as a serviceable first car. So this car belonged to a girl that I work with who had it as her first car and kept it for 4 years. So I've seen this car come to work and back every day, so I know it runs. She initially wanted £500 for it with 2 weeks left on the MOT. Then she didn't think it would pass an MOT, but she said, I'll take it and see what happens. Took it for its MOT. It passed without a single advisory, and the guy did the MOT, offered her £700 for it. So we matched that offer because we thought £700 for a little Fiat 500 on a 2011 plate with 84,000 miles and a brand new clean fresh MOT with not a single advisory, 700 quid's a fair price. So it's here now, and it's going to get a little bit of work and sprucing up and get it ready for this young lady as her first car. So the good sides are it is a fresh MOT, 12-month fresh MOT, and I have a sticker for a timing belt change at 66,000 miles, I think, maybe 62,000 miles, that the girl had done a couple of years ago. She had a friend, a friend's boyfriend did that for her and gave her the sticker. I believe that has been done. Whether or not the water pump's been done as well, because he kind of did it sort of on the cheap a little bit while he was in between other jobs. So whether or not he did the water pump as well, I don't know. He should have done. I'm hoping he did. Anyway, I've got a timing belt proof at 60 something thousand miles. It's had an MOT literally a week ago with not a single advisory, and it was 700 quid. So those are the plus sides. The downsides are she has admitted to me that in the 4 years that she's had it, she's never serviced it. And the girl that she bought it from, I don't think she serviced it either, from what I can understand. The last service stamp in the handbook is at 29,500 miles, and it's now on about 84. So 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. This has done potentially 50,000 miles plus without an oil change or a filter change or spark plugs or anything like that. So that's bad. That's awful. Also, we'll have a little look when we get it outside. There are some cosmetic issues and key marks and that sort of thing. The rear wiper, you can see through the window, is sort of seized halfway along. And it's just in general need of some cosmetic tidying up and a really good service. So there's no service history really of it to speak of in recent years. Not only is there no service history, but there's been no servicing. So this has been sat for a week since I drove it from Hythe, where it's lived for the last few years, well, Folkestone, up to where we currently are in North Kent, and it drove fine. Not a single issue at all. No clunking, no banging. Yeah, basically 85,000 miles it's on now, and it drove really well. So no service in years notwithstanding, it drove like a pretty good car. It's a very steep hill on the way from South Kent to North Kent. You've got to go over the downs, and it's a very steep hill. It did that fine. The temperature gauge held steady. The heater was on. I had no dip in temperature in the inside of the car and no erratic behaviour with the temperature gauge. So I was going up a very steep hill and then again downhill on the other side. That was all steady. So I think the thermostat works. So I don't think I have to worry about that. There's no leak in the radiator again because it would have overheated on that big steep hill. And the clutch, there was no slipping on the clutch. So clutch thermostat, radiator, I think are okay. I'll get underneath it. We'll have a proper look later on. What we're going to do now is just check the battery. And this has been standing for a week, so we'll just see what we can, what my little ABD scanner makes of it. Let's have a little look at the battery. We'll do a battery check first. And turn ignition off. 12.24 volts. Okay, so the car's been sat for a week and the battery is holding 12.2 volts. So that's okay. Enter start detection. So we'll press enter. Turn ignition on. So we'll just dip the clutch and turn the key. And what have we got? 13.8, 13.9. Ah, good enough. 14 volts basically. Alternator's charging at 14 volts. So battery's sat for a week, still held 12 volts. Charging now at 14 volts. So the alternator seems to be okay. It's under no load. Let's load it up a little bit. There's the heater. We'll put some headlights on, put main beam on, put some fog lights on. Is there a rear window demister? There is. What have we got? 13.7. So we're under quite a lot of load now. Headlights were full beam, heater on full, fog lights, and we're holding 13.7. I'll give it a little rev. 13.7. Right, battery and alternator I'm going to say are good. So there we go, turn that off and turn all that off and that off. Alright, so that's the first thing. First little check passed. Battery and alternator are good. Under no load, 14 volts. Can't argue with that. Right, battery and alternator, fine. That's good. Let's have a look and see what else we've got on here. Now I'll be interested to see what it's like now that it's up and running, what this little ABD scanner is going to pick up and what it's not. No fault codes, no trouble codes in ECU, so that's good. Read codes. Vehicle has no fault codes, so that's okay, but it's only been running a couple of seconds. Let's have a look down here, see what we've got down here. This drive, I show nothing. Data stream, see what we've got. View all items. What's this going to pick up? Fuel system, calculated load value. Okay, so that's the throttle at idle, 2.7%. That's okay. Short term fuel trim, wobbling around a little bit, up and down, up and down. So this has probably got an air filter which is more or less clogged solid. The spark plugs are probably going to be horrific. The oil is like treacle. I've already had a look at the dipstick. The oil's like treacle. So I'm not expecting it to run brilliantly. I need 60 miles per gallon at a steady 55 on the motorway. And this might settle down when it's been running for a little bit. And I just really wanted to do an alternator test, and that does seem to be fine. So I think we're okay with that. All ticks, that's good. All green lights. No misfiring. Fueling okay. Cat seems to be okay. OT sensor seems to be alright. Ignition's good. Nothing on the engine management light. No trouble codes. No pending trouble codes. So if it's sitting here idling for all of 2 minutes, nothing's gone wrong. But all green ticks so far. That's okay. We'll get it out and have a look at the body. And then next stop will be underneath and see what it's like underneath. It's lived by the sea for the last 4 years, down in Hythe, down on the South Kent coast. So an Italian car living by the sea in salty air for at least the last 4 years. God knows. Cross our fingers and we'll see what happens. But that's it so far. Alternator and battery are good. That's what I wanted to see. Okay, so I'm happy that the alternator and battery are okay. It's idling a bit rough and the fuel trim is all over the place at idle, but well, that might sort itself out with a proper service. What we'll do now is we'll have a little look at the engine we'll see what we're up against. That is awful. Let's just prop this up. That goes in there like that. So, engine bay. That's pretty rank. But everything that's supposed to be here is here. This is a really basic model, so here where this void is would be the air conditioning compressor, I think, on aircon models. There's your expansion tank, the wiper fluid, that there is the clutch fluid reservoir, master cylinder down the back, brake fluid over there, air box is in underneath here, God knows what that air filter's like, we'll have a look in a little bit. Got some, this soundproofing is a bit flappy and loose and filthy. I think this is just perished over the years, and a little gouge there, and God knows how that happens. If this was more durable, I would maybe just take this off and jet wash it, but it might disintegrate if I do that, so it might be just a case of taking it off and giving it a bit of a hoover rather than a full shampoo and jet wash. I can probably patch this bit up here. We'll get outside in a bit and have a proper look. Under the scuttle cover actually doesn't look too bad, better than I was expecting. Okay, we'll turn the light on a little bit and see if that helps. Oh yeah, I think I've got some odds and ends here. But yeah, it's pretty filthy. And the back of the engine's bad. This all really needs a good clean. There's the ECU here, the main harnesses for the ECU. Yeah, really good clean it needs. Engine mount there. We'll go and have a proper look at this when I can get underneath it. Dipstick's very loose. That's just kind of, that doesn't really appear to be held in with any tension. It's just there. That just, yeah, bobbles about. There's a cobweb there. Now I don't know what the score is with that. I don't know anything about these Fiats really. How does that fan belt look? Fan belt doesn't look too bad. Now you have to take the fan belt off to change the timing belt. You've got to take that pulley off. So common sense would say if you're going to take that off, you wouldn't put the old belt back on. And that, I need to get a closer look at it, but I can't see any obvious cracking on that fan belt. So I'm going to say that that fan belt was done when the timing belt was done, because that pulley that you can see there needs to come off to get to the cam cover. So I think that is a new fan belt, which makes me think, fingers crossed hopefully, that means he also did the water pump. So I'm going to cross my fingers and make an educated guess that that timing belt was done properly, and that fan belt there is only 20,000 miles old. A little rusty top mount there. Actually, that doesn't look in. That doesn't look great, but it's past its MOT. I mean, the top mount themselves might not be an MOT fail. I didn't hear any cracking and grinding going from lock to lock, but I'll have a better look at it once I get it outside. And we got some damage. It's had a little dink somewhere. We'll see this better outside. You can see there's a scuff there. We'll have a proper look at it outside. And there it is. I was told there was an oil leak, but it's been parked up under this cardboard. There's not an oil leak, but there's definitely a water leak. So that needs to be looked at. It could be the radiator. Now, to be expected. Leak from somewhere. And we'll have a proper look at that once we're underneath it. Yeah, the oil. That dipstick's repulsive. And that definitely needs, yeah, look at that, black as you like. So, definitely got some water loss somewhere. So there we go, that's the engine bay, in need of a good bit of work. We'll get it outside in a bit and check the rest of it out. and look for this water leak. That's quite a lot of water for just idling for 2 minutes. So they've definitely got a leaky radiator or a hose or something of that sort. So that's got a job to do already, hooray. There's definitely no water dripping out from anywhere under the engine now. It's been idling for a good few minutes and it's had a few blips of the throttle and there's been nothing. And I filled the expansion tank all the way up, it's to the brim, just to see if I lost anything. So I can't see a leak now. I'll have to have a proper look, but the evidence now that the car is up and running and I'm actually watching it and it's on fresh, dry ground, the evidence would seem to suggest that there isn't a leak. So I'm going to say that's just road water from the journey up here, but it's sat on that floor for a long time. Anyway, while we are out here, we'll have a little look at the car in more detail. Lots of scuffs here that need to get sorted out. I don't think I'll be able to do anything with that. There may be a clip broken underneath there. There's a little scuff here, a little parking scuff. That's just started to rust, so that'll need a bit of flattening back and touching in. There's, you know, scratches and scrapes everywhere. Some of this might come out with just a polish. Some of it will need maybe a bit more work. Some scratches there. Again, they may come out with a bit of thinner. Seized wiper. It could be a fuse, could be relay, could be a bad connection in the loom somewhere. This is the worst bit here. We've got a scratch that you can feel with your finger, most of it, all the way along here. This is where someone's keyed it, and here, and onto the bonnet where that's pretty bad. That's, you can really feel that. That needs a bit of flattening back and touching in. Plenty of swirls and things on the paintwork, a bit difficult to see now. Headlights need polishing. Wheels a little bit scuffed. Again, it's been a Gold's first car, so you can't really, you've got to cut her some slack. It's going to get more. It's going to another Gold to be her first car, so it's going to pick up more. But I'll see what I can do with these and the polishing. It's a bit difficult to see in this light, but the front bumper is actually a very slightly different colour to the wing and the bonnet. Two possibilities, I suppose. The front bumper has been resprayed because of some sort of knock somewhere here and there, or front bumper plastic, front wing metal, bonnet metal. There's a possibility that is the original paint, and just where it's on a different surface over the years, been parked in the sun, it's reacted differently to the sun based on the fact that it's on a different material panel, and it's just caused colour change at different rates. All paint reacts in the sun eventually, so that may have a bearing on it. If it's one panel's plastic, one panel's metal, you can probably just about make it out. It's really windy today, so apologies if you can't hear me very well. Yeah, inside it isn't too bad. Needs a good clean. Needs a really good clean in the sills and in the door shuts. That's pretty grim. That's awful. Needs a good clean in there. That's just the bit of plastic from the OBD scanner. Seats are in pretty good condition. The boot, that's bad. That needs a really good clean in there. Look at all the cobwebs and stuff all over it. It's not had a real proper clean in God knows how long. But it's been a girl's car. She's not into cars by her own admission. She's not a car person. This is just something to get her made to be and do the shopping. You can't really fault her with that. Is this 1040? It's 540. Yeah, 540, 530. Has got an oil leak apparently. Got a spare with all the kit. Yeah, we have. So, you know, it's not all bad. Not all bad. It's got some antifreeze as well, so maybe there is a little leak here or there. red oak coolant, that's about right. So we'll see once we start looking at it properly. Definitely needs a good clean. Alright, let's while we've been chatting, yeah, look at the dirt on the inside of the door. God dear, this poor car. Brake dust. Terrible. Any water yet underneath here? That's still dry. Right, odd. Oh yeah, and these as well. These are knackered. The other side's the same. The rubber's all perished. These need to be replaced. So there's plenty to be getting on with, that's for sure. But we'll just work our way around it, do bits at a time, and got a couple of weeks. We'll get there. I wonder what that's like. The fuel filler cap. How bad's that? Yeah, it's pretty bad. No surprises there. But could be worse. I think I'm going to do much in the way of cleaning today. The heavens are about to open. There we go. It's still holding a steady temperature. No, sure. Sure. Right, let's have a little closer look at the engine. Now that we're in daylight, let's pop that. Where are we? There it is. Yeah, this is crying out for an engine bay clean, but I'll do that when I service it. Oh, shocking. That poor engine. So the leak's a mystery. Might not even be a leak. I'll find out in due course. Alright, first little job is because this has to come off anyway, because I'm going to move the battery tray. I'm going to take this little clamp off and give it a brush and try and sort some of this rust out. We'll take it off, give it a brush, and then we'll put it in a little jar, and we're going to fill it with just good old-fashioned vinegar overnight. Take some of that rust off, and then we'll give it a coat of cure rust once it's dried, rinse it off, cure rust it, and then spray it with hammerite, and that will come back looking pretty good in about 24 hours. So let's whip that off and get it in some vinegar. Right, a little brush with a wire brush, and cheap as you like vinegar, which is basically pretty strong acid if you leave it long enough. Now, it's probably not the best idea to just pour a shitload of vinegar over a battery in a little plastic case. Well, that'll be alright. Just sit up there, the car's not going to move overnight, and that'll be okay. We'll leave that overnight, that'll strip that back, and tomorrow we'll give it a wash off with some brake cleaner or some spirit so it doesn't flash rust as soon as you dry it off. And we'll spray it up with some hammerite and cure rust it, it'll look alright. Alright, it's next morning, and this battery clamp's been soaking overnight. I've changed the container it was in so it gets in there a little bit deeper and gets some more cover. We're going to start on the service today because this pretty sure this has not had an oil change in a very long time, so we're going to do it thoroughly today. We're going to start by pouring in some engine flush. We're going to run it up nice and warm, put some engine flush in, run that for 10-15 minutes, then we're going to drain that oil out, and we're going to do an oil change. Then we're going to run that oil for 10 or 15 minutes, then we're going to pull that oil out, then we're going to change the oil filter, and then we're going to put in a second lot of oil. So that's going to give that engine the best chance it can have of getting rid of any gunk or anything that's in there. Once the second oil goes in, we'll put in some of this as well, some stop leak. As with the engine flush, there are conflicting opinions on what to do about these things. With the engine flush, some people say that it's a bad thing to do because it can pull out gunk and bits of emulsified oil that are actually helping to stop leaks, and when you put engine flush in it, you make the engine more prone to little leaks, which is a potential. There's also the potential that emulsified gunked up oil is preventing the oil from getting everywhere that it needs to get to, into the crank bearings and up into the camshafts and the valves and that sort of thing. So it's sort of six one half dozen the other. With an engine like this, which I know has not been changed in a long time, I don't think it's a bad thing to do. Similarly with these stop leak things, there's a school of thought that suggests that that stuff just thickens up oil and stops it from getting anywhere where it's supposed to go, and the reason it stops leaks is because it makes the oil so thick it doesn't flow properly. This stuff in particular, this ATP reseal, has got a very good reputation for not changing much with the viscosity of the oil, keeping it nice and thin, and also having quite a good beneficial effect on rubber seals and gaskets and that sort of thing. So on balance, I think it's going to be worth doing. We're also going to put in a fresh air filter, a fresh cabin filter, although that's a nightmare of a job apparently on these cars because they were designed to be changed on a left-hand drive car for the European market and American market, and on the right-hand ones it's a bit of a pain to do. New spark plugs are going in, and we're also going to do the radiator properly. We're going to drain the fluid out, put in some flush, run that for 20 minutes, pull that out, then we're going to refill it with proper coolant, and then we're going to put in some rad weld just in case this radiator in the pipe work has seen better days, which it probably has because it's an old car and it's lived by the sea. So that will help out, and also if this coolant that's in here is very, very, very old, all of its rust inhibiting properties will have long since gone. So putting some rad weld in will help the internals of that radiator along a little bit. So that's the plan. Let's just crack on with it. Right, we're under it for the first time, and it's no better or worse really than I was expecting. That doesn't look great there. We've got some weeping maybe from the sump or maybe from further up. That looks pretty dry. The exhaust not in horrendous condition on the way down. Actually, this floor pan is excellent. The lower arms look good. Again, MOT stuff I'm not really worried about because it has just passed. The radiator, the back of it, looks in much better condition than I was expecting it to look. Look at that. I mean, God knows what the front looks like. That's the bit that gets all the damage from the air. But the back of it looks fine. There's some weeping on the sump that I don't like the look of. Need to look at that. That's the oil filter. Yeah, the exhaust looks okay. The cat looks just about serviceable. Pipe work looks alright. That wiggly thing there is some pipe work for the clutch slave cylinder, I believe, and the master cylinder. That little yellow thing up there is the union that goes between the clutch slave cylinder and clutch master cylinder. These are a weak spot. That looks really good. Doesn't look damp at all. So I don't think there's any clutch fluid leaking out of that. Further up, as far as I can see, nothing obvious. Nothing leaking just yet. Hopefully not at all. I'm running the engine for a couple of reasons. First of all, I want to see when it gets warm if it does start to leak. And secondly, I want to get it nice and warm so that the oil's nice and fluid, well as fluid as it's going to be when I pull it out. The only immediate area of concern is this sump, which doesn't look fantastic. That exhaust clamp doesn't look very good, but it's passed an MOT. Nothing really rattly with the pulleys. Drive shaft gate looks okay on that side, and looks okay on that side. Drive shaft on the other side. It looks like a little bit damp, maybe on that side, but again, it's past an MOT inside of the hub on that side. Let's get into a bit of focus. There we go. That looks okay. Calipers don't look horrendous. And on this side, then there's a little bit of, I mean, the calipers are a little rusty, but they don't look awful. Discs look pretty thin, but it's a very small car with a very small engine, so I don't think it needs massive vented discs. A little bit of surface rust on track rod end now, but the bush looks okay, and again that's an MOT issue, and it wasn't noted. Some cobwebs. There's maybe, is that hose a little damp? Maybe. Nothing coming from the union. And actually, that may be where I poured some water into it yesterday, but it's got a little wet. Alright, first glance under here, it doesn't look awful. There's no oil dripping, there's no water dripping, so I'm still not sure about the leak, if there is one or not. That's the gearbox mounting, that looks pretty good. Let me if I can give it a little rock. Doesn't look, I need a pry bar on it really. I want to get my shoulder on it because it's I can't angle it with the shoulder and push it at the same time, but I'll give that a little wobble and see how that looks. First glance, that rubber doesn't look bad. And again, the girl who's owned it for the last 4 years is absolutely not an aggressive driver. A little bit of surface rust on the chassis leg there, but that's not the end of the world. Further down, as far as I can see, I can only get to the front of the car. As far as I can see here on the front, the seals look pretty good. There's not a bit of rust underneath there, nothing starting. So this is really promising. I did have a very quick look at the back yesterday, and the torsion bar, the beam that goes across, there's quite a lot of rust on that, but that's to be expected. Right, alternator doesn't look filthy either. Nothing jumps out as being immediately awful straight away. That's the starter motor there. I'll get it in focus, there it is. Okay. Alright, under the back of the car now, having a little look. And then we went from the front, that's just the kind of the middle of the car. That's all pretty good really underneath there. The seals are all in good condition all the way along, as far as I could see. Once you get it jacked up and get the wheels off and have a look at the inner arches, but certainly front to back there doesn't seem to be any worry with regards to the seals. That's seen better days, that exhaust hanger. Although again it's been MOT'd and was decided there was nothing amiss with it, because there's no advisories, as I keep saying. Exhaust has definitely seen better days. There's a little bit of moisture there, that might be where that dripping was from. The rear trailing arms are pretty rusty, but it's just surface rust, and same as these brackets, it's just everything's nice and solid. So yeah, the exhaust isn't amazing. I doubt it will pass another MOT, but everything important looks alright. That's the fuel tank. I mean, bearing in mind this has lived by the seaside for a while. Oh, there's a bracket there. Broken, that's a handbrake cable bracket. I'm surprised that wasn't an advisory, because that's a broken handbrake cable. But the brake lines themselves all look okay. The strap for the fuel tank looks alright. What have we got up here? Pipe work for something. Oh yeah, it's pretty rusty under here. It's just surface rust at the moment, but it's kind of what you'd expect. Rear drums aren't, yeah, I mean they're not awful. There's no seeping from those shocks, although they are really rusty. I wouldn't be surprised if these. I'd be surprised if those shocks last another MOT. Behind the spring hanger, looks a bit rusty. Let's say on the side's about the same. Yeah. Could get onto those bleed nipples of those brakes and WD those, because I've got to bleed the brakes. So yeah, I mean it isn't. I don't think this exhaust will see another MOT either, to be perfectly honest. There's some weeping there already, and that's a bit cracked, and we're dripping here. But that's not the end of the world. Yeah, fuel tank hanger's okay. So it isn't awful up here. All the structural stuff up there, that when that top of that suspension mount sits, looks really good. The other side looks really good. Tiny little bit of rust up there, but that's not worth worrying about. Some leaves up there. So yeah, the suspension, the trailing arms, and the rear beam, the torsion bar are about what you'd expect. This side's worse because this is the oncoming side. This gets all the road splatter, but it's solid. It's just rusty, surface rust, but solid. Right, okay. So that's the other. What's that spring hanger like up there? That's not too bad either, really. So I don't think the exhaust will see another MOT, and the shocks probably don't have more than a couple of years left. But again, this only got to do a couple of years, and they're service items anyway. They are stuff that's got a life, and then time to replace them. But getting up there, it looks that's solid. Okay. Yeah, apart from the exhaust, which I don't think we'll see another MOT, there's a few years left in this car. That one as well. In actual fact, I'm sure I'm seeing broken handbrake cables as an advisory on previous MOTs. He's just not. I can't imagine he hasn't spotted it. He just didn't think it was worth it putting an advisory on, maybe. But yeah, both sides, the handbrake cables are broken. So I that should have been an advisory, I would have thought. But anyway, he hasn't put it, and it's a clean MOT, so we won't argue. I don't think the spring's got much left in it either. But yeah, okay, it isn't awful. It's sort of what you'd expect for the age and type of the vehicle that it is. So yeah, not going to argue.